What's happening, guys? It's Venomousfatman here. I got a brand new segment of The Verdict for you. This time I'm talking about the Superman Shazam movie, The Return of Black Adam. Now, pretty much this is another DC animated movie. It's about Superman and Shazam, and pretty much the overall arc for the entire story of the actual movie. It's an origin story of how Shazam came to be. That's kind of like the underlying thing. It's not necessarily where both heroes are already, established and Black Adam has fought Shazam before in the past. But no, it is actually goes through the whole origin story of how the young kid becomes Shazam. I forgot the actual kid's name at the moment, but pretty much how the young boy actually becomes into contact with the wizard Shazam and actually becomes to be Captain Marvel for the most part. Well, what's cool is besides the actual Superman Shazam movie, or Superman Captain Marvel movie, I should say, is that this actual animated movie has what's called the DC Showcase, and pretty much it has three other different types of stories that are associated with the DC hero properties, including the Spectre, Green Arrow, and Jonah Hex. Now, the Superman Shazam movie was good in itself, the half an hour movie, what it is already in itself, but just on the DC Showcase alone itself, like that, if it was just that in a box set, would just be worth it, okay, because they're absolutely amazing. They're great. Here's the cool thing about it. It's characters like Green Arrow, who I always thought wasn't kind of like the best of the DC heroes in the actual DC universe, actually comes off as really badass in this movie, especially with his own, I guess it's like 15 minutes or so, something like that, but he really comes off really nicely in this actual thing. So I really applaud the guys over at DC, or what is it, Animator or Warner Brothers, that are actually doing this. They should definitely do this with more of the kind of like, the lesser known heroes, because I think they would really benefit, from this type of publicity and actually this type of, version or kind of like, take on the actual different types of characters. Case in point, besides Green Arrow, is also the Spectre. The Spectre was awesome. It had this kind of like nitty gritty, kind of like old school, maybe like 40s, 50s types of horror. It was done in color, but it had kind of like these, the actual kind of like movie reel lines going through it, which I thought was pretty cool. It wasn't so much distracting as it was kind of adding to the whole mix of everything, because it does take place back in the day for the most part, and that one was really, really cool. But in my opinion, my most favorite one out of all three of them has to be Jonah Hex, because Jonah Hex recently had a pretty crappy movie, kind of like a movie adaptation of it, but this one, as far as being animated, it was absolutely awesome. The action is really fast-paced, really quick. It's set in the Western, kind of like the old, I guess you want to say 1800s, maybe a little bit further down the line, but it's a Western, obviously. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of gunslinging action in different parts. It's like 15 minutes long, but the action's there. The story is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much, Jonah Hex comes to this town. He's looking for some guy that apparently some type of not masseuse, but what is it? Some type of escort actually kills him. I guess whether it's because whatever she might be, she just gets off on killing people, or if it was for money or whatnot, but she kills him. So Jonah Hex, in order to claim his bounty, has to actually find her to get her to tell him where the body is so he can actually pick her up. And the ending to it is really good. It's big surprise. It's amazing how dark these actual DC adaptations for these heroes are actually going, and I think it really works for them. They're kind of going a la the Dark Knight a little bit, and they're actually, in my opinion anyway, as far as animated is concerned, they're taking the bar and they're going deeper and darker than some of the Marvel properties, at least in my opinion, because I've seen the same thing with Batman and Superman Apocalypse. I saw also same thing with Public Enemies, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, all these different DC heroes that are getting animated are going much darker, and it really, really works for them. So anyway, like I said, the Superman Shazam movie along with the DC Showcase is awesome. You definitely should pick this up. If not for Superman/Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, definitely for the DC Showcase. I really want to see more heroes given this type of adaptation and treatment, because they would really, really benefit from it. But anyway, that's just my opinions and thoughts. Leave your comments and video responses. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys think of this whole thing, if you really enjoyed it, some of your favorite DC animated movies, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. This has been The Verdict. I'm Venomousfatman. I'll talk to you guys again later.